Good morning, everybody. The salute's coming out. I'm feeling a bit of a chipper mood today. Don't really know why. Maybe it's because it's nearly the weekend. I have no idea. But Sam here. Welcome to the morning news show. I'm going to be speaking about camping. Some of the comments I've seen on the videos in these last couple of days have really cracked me up. So that's why I bring them up. But we're going to be speaking about Mbeumo. Looks like he's going to be winning the Premier League Player of the Month award. We'll have a little conversation about who has been a fantastic signing in Mbeumo. Sort of setting the standards. We'll speak about the Spurs game, obviously. Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. Have we had any 12:30 kickoffs on Saturday this season? I can't remember. Maybe we might have had one. Who was it? No idea. Anyway, we'll speak about that. We'll speak a little bit on Cunha, on Casemiro, maybe Zirkzee leaving the club on loan. We know that. But another club linked to him. But yeah, I'll run through the latest news. You'll let me know what you think in the chat, as you always do. Let's enjoy ourselves. Who's in a good mood? Who's in a bad mood? How are you all getting on? Let me know in the chat. Good morning to Alex, to Carl, to JC. We've got Gungshi there as well. Good morning, dudes. Some of the real big hitters down here today. Josh, you'll be there as always. Let's have a look at the members as well. We've got Maddie. Good morning to you. We've got Monkton John. We've got Imtiaz. We've got Pranav, Steve, Sasha, Steve, Derek, Toby, and some members, some non-members as well. Let's say hello to Ruman. We've got O'Dane Michael. We've got Robin Lawrence. We've got Ashwin, Z Navid, and Auto Flyet. How are you all doing? Having a good day? Yeah, I did see those rumours. I'm not going to try and pronounce that name. Kareem Alajbigovic. I think it's a teenage lad from... Is it Leipzig? I think it'd be Leipzig. Another one of those younger players. I mean, I think I've sort of made it clear how it's those sorts of signings. Do they excite me more than signing a Cunha or an Mbeumo? Well, no, I'd kind of be lying if I said they did. But signing those sort of unknown players, not necessarily just unknown either, but players that can grow into stars at the football club. They are my favourite types of signings. They always will be my favourite types of signings. Is he Salzburg? Wrong Red Bull. 50-50. Johnny saying he's going to Leverkusen. They've got to buy back and want him. All right, maybe not. JC, good morning to you. Gifting 10 memberships. So we go down here. I've got this up again. I need to figure out how I can set these onto the Stream Deck so I can have it on a button. But anyway, thank you very much for gifting 10 memberships. Thought we'd have a little light show. As I said, feeling in a chipper mood today. Let's go back to white, though. Let's keep it civil. Good morning, JC. Right. Everybody, if you look at the pinned comment on the chat, you'll see it's the link for the latest episode of the pod. Me, Dan, and Nick, we're working hard on this one. We'll be here twice a week, every single week. And this is the latest one. We speak about Spurs. There's a little part of the conversation here, which I think really could be... It could be made into its own podcast, right? I think so, I know. Anyway, it's about like the United identity. I'm going to randomly ask you a question here before we get into the news show today. What do you think is the United identity? Because I don't think it's linked to a formation whatsoever. And I want you to let me know what you think in the chat. We'll speak about that and then we'll head into the show. Oh, bloody hell, I've started something here. Get Gungshi gifted 20 memberships. Uh-oh. And Z, you gifted 10. Good morning to all of you as well. Yeah, these ones, it gets linked to your voice. So the more you talk, the louder it flashes. What? Can we do a rolling one? Thank you very much to Z, to Gungshi, for gifting some memberships as well. And can I just say, been speaking about the head of community, and we're getting close, people. I think what will be a little bit different this time, again, I can give you an insight into what's going on behind the scenes. Although, again, somebody left a comment yesterday, like, Sam, I don't care whether you like camping, mate. I don't care what's going on behind the scenes. Just give me my news. I think the reason that those sorts of comments always make me laugh is, could you ever imagine feeling that entitled that you'd actually physically type it out and go, yeah, I'm sending that. Bam. I think that's what makes me laugh. Yeah, these lights are class. I just don't use them enough. Right, what are you saying down here about what you think the genuine identity of United is? Dickens, you're saying attacking possession football. Tom Cruise, you're saying identity has always been front-footed and entertaining football since Sir Alex. Mikey, you're saying Wilcox summed it up. Act like a family, perform as a team. That's the United way. That's quite a cool one. I quite like that. I've always felt that was always one of United's strengths, and I don't know, it's kind of what made United United. When you were following it when you were younger, United did feel like a family. That sort of, it always jumps to my mind because it's the best example of it. But the Beckham situation after the World Cup, close the doors at Carrington, close out all the noise. We go on, we win the treble. He was robbed of the Ballon d'Or. Should have won it. Had the best season of his career. Youth development, some are saying down there. Youth and attack. Alex is saying fast, free-flowing, attacking football. Easier if you have more of the ball. History, youth, innovators, entertainers. There's something that I said in the pod. That's kind of why I was speaking about it. I don't think United's identity is linked to a formation whatsoever. I really, really don't. You speak about 4-4-2 if you want. You could speak about 4-3-3, which I actually think is the best I've ever seen United. Was that 2006-2009 team, which was definitely not 4-4-2. But for me, a big thing, I think, is like the opening 15 minutes of games, like almost trying to crush your opposition. I'm not saying come out the blocks firing, high press, crazy football, but trying to score that early goal because it shifts the game plans of any team you face, and it allows you to take control and it forces your opposition to change. I think that's a big part of it for me, especially at Old Trafford. Like the first 15 minutes of games. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Did a bit. I was going to talk about that, but I can't be asked to speak about you now. And again, this is just by coincidence, by the way, that it's 39 years. Mate. 39 years. I finally feel young again. I wanted to pull up this video, right? This is an old video. Have you listened to this? This is just after United won their first league title under Fergie, right? Just have a listen to what he had to say. Because now that you know what followed, it makes what he said here more interesting.
Well, now that you've done it once and finally broken that 26-year spell, do you think you can form a dynasty here in much the same way Sir Matt Busby did?
Well, we have the platform and definitely have the resources. We have the players, and as long as they're hungry, because without hunger you can never achieve anything. And I would be saying to my players now is, go on, the door's open for you. It's up to yourself. If you really want to do it, you can do it. And I think in the modern context of football, I think it's very difficult to say that you're going to dominate football. But what I think we will do is I think we will be there all the time now. I'm confident of that. It's a very difficult league to win. And now we're in the Champions Cup next year. It will put a definite strain on us if we get, in particular, into the league situation, where resources will be tested really to the full. But that's something that we've got to accept that type of challenge.
You could listen to him all bloody day, couldn't you? It's just cool to listen to that. Now that you know what followed was the dynasty that he built, was everything. Yeah, 39 bloody years. Aiden, you're saying you met him that year. Jeez. 39 years. What? I wasn't meeting him. How old was I? I wasn't born yet. I was just doing the maths there in my head. I was born in 89. The Champions Cup. Now that is taking it back. Anyway, let's fast forward to the modern day. Let's fast forward to the latest news. As I said, it was a bit of an interesting first 10 minutes there to begin the show. I was just running through the pod. I want to speak about that. But somebody who's brand new, here he is right there, Bryan. Looks like he's going to be winning the Premier League Player of the Month. Kind of got leaked yesterday. I think it's FUT Sheriff on Twitter. Normally leaks who wins it the day ahead. So I imagine at some point today, you are going to be seeing the photos of Bryan Mbeumo holding his Premier League Player of the Month award. And richly deserved. And that'll be a clean sweep for Mbeumo. If I remember correctly, he won Manchester United's Player of the Month in his first month at the club. August? I think so. So is that his second Man United Player of the Month and his first Premier League Player of the Month? Boy, oh boy. This was, again, I can speak about it a little bit later. Jason Wilcox was speaking about the need for what Man United needed this summer was immediate impact players. And I don't think anybody can disagree that Mbeumo has had an immediate impact. Trivia question here for you all. Who was the last Manchester United player to win a Premier League Player of the Month award in their first season at the club? Who do you think it was? I asked the lads at the team this morning. They actually got it a lot quicker than I did. I wouldn't have remembered it. But it's pretty recent, actually. But yeah, I hope Amorim also wins not Player of the Month, Manager of the Month. Wouldn't be surprised if he went to Arteta, because Arsenal won all their games and he didn't concede either. Quite a lot of you are saying Bruno. Someone saying Rooney. There you go. Del, you got it. You remembered it. Because I bloody couldn't remember this. Man, it's Rasmus Højlund. Lots of you going the whole way back to Bruno, but it was Højlund. Remember? When he wasn't scoring in the Prem, and then he scored away at home against Villa. I think that was a 3-2 win. And then he had that purple patch month, and he banged in like 4 goals in 3 games or something like that. He won the Premier League Player of the Month award. Damn. Damn. That didn't quite work out. But I knew that quite a few of you wouldn't get it, because I didn't bloody get it. But yeah, Højlund. Anyway, I hope it works out a little bit more with Bryan Mbeumo. Let's be totally honest. I think he's going to have fun against Spurs. I really do. I don't think, like, I'll be interested to know your take on this. I don't say this in like a mega pressure way, like I expect it from him, but the way that Mbeumo has played so far, I feel like every game he plays in the league, he's capable of getting a goal or an assist. Like every game. And like I don't think he'd overstretch to do so. I think every single match he finds himself in those situations. He puts himself in those situations. That's what I think. They're back. You need to do your maths right. So I was born in 89. I'm definitely not 26. I was 26. 10 years ago. Anyway. Yeah, Højlund. Mad, isn't it? Alex, you're saying, got to admit, Mbeumo's been my favourite signing for United in years. Arguably since Zlatan. Some strange comments coming down there about chip fries. Let's read those out. Moving on, right? I'm sure you've seen this already, but I thought it was an interesting thing to have a little chat about before we speak about Jason Wilcox and everything else. This is United's last 2 seasons compared after the first 10 games. Last season, after 10 games, we had 12 points with a -3 goal difference. This season, after 10 games, we've got 17 points with a +1 goal difference. So 5-point improvement. And I knew that United had a tough start to the season. But look at this. Look how mad this is. After we play Spurs, hopefully beat Spurs, on Saturday, we would have played Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Sunderland, Spurs, Chelsea. Currently 6 out of the 7 teams above us in the league. And Bournemouth is the only team out of those that we haven't currently played. Well, Bournemouth and Spurs. It's quite a significant improvement. At times it's been hard to see. And especially that Brentford game. My God, I don't want to go back to thinking about that Brentford game. I was almost like desolate after that game. I was proper bottom of the barrel. I was like, oh my God, where is the way out of this? Because I didn't think that Ruben Amorim would tweak anything. I didn't think anything would change. I felt like we were very much tunnel visioned to do one thing in one particular way. Yep. When is the Bournemouth game? Palace, we've got... It's like a really grim, like 12 o'clock on a Sunday kickoff, that one. I think that's towards the end of... towards the end of November. Richie just saying, easy, Sam. Martinez won't appreciate the bromance with Mbeumo. Hey, look. I can't have the same sort of bromance. But I can very much appreciate a high-quality Premier League professional coming into Manchester United and doing exactly what he did before, but doing it for United. Like United... I don't think, in general, I don't think United sign like pony players. I don't. There's just quite a lot of players that just can't deal with doing it for Manchester United. It's just not possible for a lot of them. Anyway. Alex saying, Sam, after listening to the pod, let's go to that as the next talking point, I believe. Do you think Wilcox influenced Amorim into making tweaks, or was it just Ruben? Listening to that pod, I tell you what, it's actually quite easy to believe Jason Wilcox. Yeah. I mentioned this in the pod I did with Dan and Nick as well. I was like, of course you got to look at this and understand that it's on the club channel. It's almost going to be a little bit like PR and a little bit propaganda. That's kind of what club media is. Of course it is. However, I think you can really tell that Jason Wilcox has played in the Premier League. He's won the Premier League. He's got experience. He's been in that environment. He can relate to a lot of the players. He can relate to a lot of the problems that players and clubs have, and has understanding of it from kind of both sides. So that experience certainly helps him in that role. Yeah, I find it quite easy to listen to Jason Wilcox talking. I think he's good at explaining things, and I think it's quite easy to understand what he's talking about. You know, some football directors, just some people in football can speak in, I don't know, just kind of difficult to understand what they're speaking about. And I'm going on about that a little bit. In terms of whether Jason Wilcox influenced Ruben Amorim, by the sounds of it, everybody kind of influences everybody at United. Like, he was speaking about the transfer process. Obviously, he's having weekly meetings right now with the recruitment team, with Chris Favell, who's leading on that side, but also the scouts, also the data team, and everyone's involved. Ruben Amorim's involved too. Not to say that it's like too many cooks spoil the broth. That's what it is. I think that's what it is. But it feels like quite a collaborative process. And I say that in a good way. And I actually think, again, from something that the club has done, that I would praise, I think this is a good idea. I think United, I understand why United aren't interested in working with United People's TV or any other channels like us, because they want to keep it closed. But having the club media and doing stuff like this inside Carrington, a question I'd like to ask you. So, right, Jason Wilcox was the first person on Inside Carrington, our football director. So we got a little bit of an insight into the transfer strategy. Who would you like to see on that pod? I'm curious. I think I mentioned Sam Erith, who is, I think, like the head of performance that was brought in a while ago, because I'd like to get a little bit more insight into what United have tweaked to help with our injury problems. Now, of course, playing once a week definitely does help. But clearly there's more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about yet. Mikey, I suppose I can't disagree with that. Omar Barada. Chris Vavell. Now, there is somebody I'd love to see. I don't think I've ever seen an interview with Chris Vavell. Yeah, I think you're all right on that one. Who's the name? Stephen Torpey. I think he's been brought in as a new head of academy. Someone down there saying Fletcher. Fletcher could be a cool one. Alex saying Paulo Barrera or Carlos Fernandez. Are they the two assistant managers for Ruben Amorim? I think they are. So I'm saying Hargreaves. Nah, man. I don't want Hargreaves there. What's Hargreaves going to tell me about the inner workings of my football club? I'm Batman saying, where's the interview? Go on United's official YouTube channel. The whole thing is on there. It was annoying during the video seeing a wonky trophy in the background. Carrington must just be such a nicer place to bloody work now, man. It really must. Who else are you saying down there? But lots and lots of shouts for Vavell, a couple for Omar Barada, and Darren Fletcher as well. Yeah, I think I'll go Chris Vavell. I think you swung me there. King, you sent Matt Hargreaves. I'll be honest. Do I really want to hear from Manchester United's head of negotiations? Yeah, I suppose a little bit. I don't think you're going to get too much. Avram Glazer. Get in there. Anyway, I quite enjoyed that pod, and I'm looking forward to seeing who they bring on next week, and I think it's a good thing the club has started. Now, let's move on. Speak about this man. Again, from an insight perspective, Martinez. We're still waiting for him to come back. Phil Jones was on the pod alongside Helen Evans and can't remember his name. That's not Steve Bartram because he left. It's the MUTV presenter. We're with Jason Wilcox. And Phil Jones was speaking about Martinez's return. And I don't know, do you think this would make an interesting podcast? Because I kind of think it would. Like, if you ever got the opportunity to sit down with players like Phil Jones and you spoke about the mental side of serious injuries and like how players actually, like, kind of opening the door a little bit to what goes on mentally during that rehab process. I feel like it might be a compelling podcast. I also kind of feel like it might get a little bit repetitive if you then just spoke to loads of players who have had mega injuries and you kind of heard the same stories. I understand that bit. But this is Phil Jones just speaking about his own experiences of big injuries and how he came over. And he said it can be a dark place at times, especially when you're out for that long. It's difficult to see the players going out every day to train when you're just in the gym. But he looks in incredible shape at the minute. And I'm sure he's worked hard. I think this one here, I hadn't really thought about. In terms of injuries, ACL injuries and coming back from them. You hear people about either redoing it, the same injury, because they come back too soon, or doing the other one because of the compensating. I haven't really quite thought of that. And again, from my own experiences now, I can tell you, like, my legs have been thrown completely out of kilter because my other knee is completely compensated for the completely different angle that my left knee now points at. So your body just like adapts and it adjusts. And if you've got no strength in one leg, like, I'm sure you've all seen the videos of players coming back from big ACL injuries and you look at the muscle wastage on one side, you're like, what? It's nuts how much your muscles will waste away when you don't use them. Johnny's saying you lose pace, but he doesn't have that much really. But I'd say Lissandro's game is built around aggression. And it's built around kind of sharp movements. Some players, like Van Dijk, for example, is more of a passive defender. At his best, he was extremely good at doing it. But he's not somebody who would typically engage that much. He would step off and cover the space. Martinez is kind of different on that sense. He's an aggressive defender. He likes to be on the front foot. He likes to engage far earlier and far more often because that's his way of defending. You're saying his aggression won't go? Well, we'll find out. But I just thought it was interesting hearing Phil Jones speaking about him and probably why United really are just erring on the side of caution. I still don't know whether we're leaving. You might see him travel down for the Spurs game. Be involved in a matchday squad. Cool. But I don't think you'll see him in the team. Carl, you're saying 100% my left knee is compensating for my right knee after an ACL? Yeah. I don't know whether his aggression will be any less, but it's these sorts of reasons why it's just best to, even if it takes another month. I really do feel that with Martinez, we're at last chance saloon. For him, in terms of his Manchester United career, if he was to come back, and touch wood, this doesn't happen, but if he was to come back and was to get another serious injury, Man United wouldn't be able to wait as a football club for him to return. It would have to be, man, that sucks. But we're going to have to move. We're going to have to bring someone else in. And I think he'll know that. So it's much better to wait and to get your opportunity right than to rush in. And Martinez will be one of those players who wants to rush in. Kind of like, I don't know, I always think about Wayne Rooney in this situation. Even if he wasn't 100% fit and he probably shouldn't play, he'd tell everybody that he was, just so he could play. Maybe doing himself some more damage in the meantime. And probably why Wayne Rooney, when it got towards 30, 31, maybe? Rooney's game really started to slow down because he'd been going full tilt since he was 16. Michael Owen too. Some of those players who come out of the blocks when they're young teenagers, when they're still growing actually, the longevity of their careers are cut short as a consequence. Dad, you're saying he won't be the same player, unfortunately. I hope he will. Only performances can show us this. I've got my fears, you've got your fears. Yeah, John, Rooney's life off the pitch, of course, affected that. JC, you're saying Shaw's still here. Shaw's still here because of that bumper contract we gave him. That's why. Come on, Sam, say situation. Situation. In terms of other injuries, again, Sekou Kone, just little updates on him. He is working his way back to fitness. I think he's still doing a lot of private training stuff. But we should be seeing him back with the under-21s after the international break, which would be a good thing. Neville saying Rooney was a madman, gave his body to the club. You know, one thing I've really found strange on this channel, I don't know why, but anytime we've tried to do, you know how I love doing the player focus videos? It seems anytime we do a video on Rooney, no one watches it. I don't get why. Because he's right up there, one of my favourite players. I don't know whether we're accidentally blacklisted for the word Rooney on this channel. It's funny. Someone down there. Had you saying 20 minutes late, but United have been known for quality finishes. This is what we've missed for a while. Well, our conversion rate's certainly been better this season. That's without saying. Have you seen Mobland? Random question. No, I've not seen Mobland. I've had some mixed reviews about it. Not really sure I want to watch it right now. Right now, finally, I'm rewatching Sopranos. We're on season 3, episode 8. Then after that, I think I'm probably going to rewatch The Wire. I think I told you this before. For some reason, I think it was at uni. I was just doing other stuff. Not learning, by the way. I think I gave up after season 3 for some mad reason. Everyone's like, mate, you're an idiot. It's from the next season where it starts getting crazy. So I'd like to go back and rewatch all of that. Alex saying, speaking of Rooney, memories of San Siro, which is about to be demolished. I need to see United playing the San Siro before it gets demolished. I even just need to go to a derby game in San Siro. That's what I'd love to see. Random. Maddie, you're saying all about the new Witcher. Season 3 just pissed me off. There were so many different stories going into it. I was like, man, what's going on? How does that link to that? I thought it got a bit weird. I think every season's progressively got worse so far. I did enjoy House of Guinness. House of Guinness was a bit naff at the start, but I think it got better as it went on. And Yellowstone was good. I enjoyed that. Now, Casemiro. Really want to randomly speak about Casemiro here. What two midfielders this season do you think are contributing the most goals and assists per 90? Right, what 2 Premier League midfielders? I'll give you a clue. They're both probably going to be on the pitch this weekend. Now, I wouldn't have guessed these 2, but you might guess one, considering we're having a conversation about him. Yeah, Casemiro is one of those 2. Who do you think's the other one? So the midfielders in the Premier League who have the most goals and assists per 90 so far in the Prem. It's not Bruno. It's not Caicedo. Honestly, I don't think any of you would get this. Took me by surprise. See if he gets some more. Bruno's about 7th or 8th on the list. Overall. Someone's saying Caicedo, Bruno Guimaraes. Not him. Not Rutter. Not Polina. Not Szoboszlai. Not Kudus either. We'll be running through all day on this one. It's caught me by surprise. Pap Sarr at Spurs. Only he has contributed more goals and assists per 90 in the Premier League than Casemiro. You can see Bruno Fernandes down there in 10th. Right now, Bruno is delivering nearly double the amount of goals and assists per 90 than Bruno bloody Fernandes. And it's definitely not Polina. Polina will be like 434th down the list. Where Pap Sarr? It's quite impressive. I imagine you'll probably get him in. I think Nick was speaking about this, about the setup of Spurs this weekend. We'll speak about Spurs next. They're going to set up with Polina and Bentancur. You know that's going to be happening. And they're probably going to put Pap Sarr in midfield as well. It's not going to be a... There's not going to be a lot of space in midfield. I don't know about the sample size, Alex. It's just on a per 90 basis. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. I thought it was pretty up to date. Either way, it's fair to say that Casemiro is delivering when it comes to influencing the games from a goals and assists perspective. Long may it continue. What I was saying down here. Sarr to replace Mainu? What, United? Nah. No, thank you. Speaking about Cunha as well, that list there was just showing what midfielders are getting most goals and assists per 90. And this here is the list of players who have won the most offensive duels. And I'm going to guess that's winning a duel in the opposition's third. I don't know what the definition of offensive duel is. But you can see Cunha there, 4th on that list. You can see Bruno Guimaraes right at the top of the list. Not too much of a surprise. Bruno's 9th on the list. Any other United players? No other United players. Elliot Anderson, 2nd on that list. The Adam Wharton video, by the way, I should have recorded that yesterday, but I got distracted. Sorry. So we might not be... Well, actually, I should have recorded it the day before because it was supposed to be going out today. Never mind. We're still going to try and get the Adam Wharton video out tomorrow. Where's Adam Wharton on that list? I'm not surprised. It's not really his game. But Cunha, right up there with one of the best ball winners or duel winners in the opposition's half right now. Let's move on, right, and let's speak about this. Who do you think is going to be the most important player for United against Spurs? Ask the lads this on the podcast, and I'll ask all of you down here. Now, my preview is going to be going out at lunchtime today. Going to bring it out a day early because we play at 12:30 on Saturday. So I always try and give the preview 2 days to breathe before the game comes out. Simply because it's a dead video otherwise. So try and give you a bit more. I'm trying to think who I would choose as the single most important player for United. Alex, you're saying Mount, and so is Chris. There's 2 of you saying Mount. A couple of you are saying Cunha, MK and Darius. Steve, you're saying Mbeumo, so is Autoflyer, Louis and Ashwin. Bruno and Casemiro, says Will. I'll be honest, I don't think it will be Bruno and Casemiro. I think the way that Spurs are going to set up in this game, we know this, right? You can predict this. They're going to set up with that deep double pivot. It's going to be Palhinha, and it's going to be Bentancur. There's not really going to be any or too much space for central progression. It's going to be very difficult. Even dribbling through the lines, like Cunha's ball running from deep, he's always going to get someone hounding him with the ball. Carl, you're saying De Ligt. Couple of you, John, Will, and Zhao, you're saying Lemons. I hope you're wrong, because I don't want him to be our most important player. Because if he is our most important player, he's had a storm of a game, which means we've been busy. Zhao, you saying Harry Maguire as well? Nah. You can't say Lemons and Maguire. Make your mind up. That's two names. Let's go saying it depends on their form. We've got such an opportunity against Spurs on Saturday. You know how, again, I said this in the pod. So many times that teams have played United over these last couple of seasons, or probably even longer than that. And we've been in a bit of a wobbly state. And other teams have taken advantage of that. But I'm telling you, that Spurs stadium booed those players off against Chelsea. Yeah, they won against Copenhagen. They'll all come into the first 15 minutes pretty excited again. But if United can kill those first 15 minutes and get that crowd straight back into that mindset that they were against Chelsea, where Spurs didn't have much going forward, there really wasn't too much creativity, as Chelsea were pressing them hard, there is every chance that that stadium boos them off at half-time. And that's the crowd. United can take advantage of that crowd situation. Play the games, man. Waste some time. Slow it down. Frustrate them. The slower you make that game against Spurs to begin with, the more frustrated that crowd's going to be. And the more they're going to get back into that mindset that they were against Chelsea. Of course, the first goal, Carl, you're saying he needs to get the first goal. You can say that for every game of football because it's always true. But I just think shithousery is going to be the more important than getting the first goal in this game. If you can get that crowd tense, the players will tense up as a consequence. And then everything else will become a little bit easier. And he's saying it's often when we stand to gain the most in the table that we slip up. That's kind of typical from United, really, isn't it? Alex saying can't help but feel sick every time we play against Palhinha. He has a way of making life difficult for United. Yeah, like Palhinha and Bentancur are a very good central midfield pairing from a pragmatic perspective, but it's kind of been part of the reason why Spurs have had such frustrations going forward. Their set pieces are going to be dangerous. I think it's probably one of the most important parts of their game right now because they're not exactly creating free-flowing attacking football from open play. And how far we've fallen to worry about Spurs. Well, and you had to go bloody far back for that comment to really make sense. Like, Spurs have been... It pisses me off, man, Spurs. Like, you know how, with Arsenal, like, it doesn't... I know Arsenal have beaten us a couple of times, but still, if you look across the course of the last 10 years or so, even when Arsenal have been flying, remember that time where, well, a certain Marcus Rashford made his first Premier League appearance. I think they were top of the league. Just spanked them. We typically have had their number. I know they beat us at Old Trafford. It was the first time in a long time in the Premier League they beat us at Old Trafford. But Spurs, somehow. How many times did it? We haven't won in 7, I don't think. David is saying, got a bad feeling about the Spurs game. Well, I think quite a few United fans do. Oh. If we can win this game, we go into this international break, the final international break, with 4 wins and 1 draw out of our last 5 games. That would be some turn of form. It's possible. It's completely possible. I think we have to play the game. You know, like we played against Brighton. I don't particularly think we went into that Brighton game. Like Sunderland and Liverpool, we had a bit of a game plan for those games. And they worked. Brighton, I think we played how Ruben Amorim wanted to play. And we beat them. Quite convincingly, actually, as a consequence. Forest, did we have a game plan? I don't particularly think there was a specific game plan for Forest in the same way there was to Liverpool away. But I think there should be for Spurs. I think there should be. Because I just think there's weaknesses to take advantage of, and that crowd. What are you saying down here? Let's have a little chat. Sam, you saying, great name. Van der Ven worries me. Scored a similar goal the other night to the one he got last season. Yeah, that was ridiculous. I think we lost 3-0 to them at home, didn't we? We will not be able to stop those runs in midfield. We don't have anybody. I mean, to be fair, nobody really has a player that's capable of stopping Van der Ven on the run, let alone United when we've got Bruno and Casemiro. It's like the opposite. Anthony saying this game isn't going to be decided on the pitch. It's going to be decided in the dugouts. Pretty sure you can't score from the dugout. But I get what you mean. About the tactical approach, about how the game is played. Beat Spurs. Man, I remember that night in Bilbao was so grim. I remember walking away from the stadium. Great day. Oh. Don't remind me. But does Casemiro have the legs for this game? Absolutely bloody not. You know the answer to that. He doesn't. So the question is, how do you accommodate that? Do you, what you should do, of course, do you squeeze up with De Ligt, Shaw and Yoro? So the gaps between the centre-backs and the central midfielders are smaller, therefore less ground coverage for Casemiro. Yeah, you should do that. You should always do that. Always stay compact when you move up and down the pitch. I think there's a question to be asked about Šeško and about Mount. Because if there was one thing that Chelsea did really well, they pinned Spurs in their own half. And that was kind of a big reason why they just could not play out from the back and cause a lot of their own problems. Aren't Spurs missing a lot of players? I'll run through all the team news in the Starting 11 video. Bilbao was class except for the game. That exact same sentence applies to pretty much every European away I've ever been on. That was great. Game got in the way. Honestly, when you go, like, it's such a strange thing to try and explain to people. Like, what do you mean? Like, where'd you go in Europe? You went the whole way there. And, like, you didn't really care about the football. No, you don't. As soon as you're there with, like, your mates and you're just enjoying your European city, especially if it's sunny, you're like, oh, man, this is class. The last thing I want to do is go here. And it's the lock-ins. It's the lock-ins that kill you in European aways more than anything else. Because you know full well, like everyone who went to Turkey, like Istanbul is notorious for having A, the worst lock-ins, but B, it's like the arse end of nowhere too. European aways. I have enjoyed them. But responsibly, I couldn't go to any anymore. You wouldn't be seeing a match reaction from me if you would. I've done some drunk match reactions before. I remember doing one, sat outside a pub once. I've done some quite funny ones, actually. Don't need to go back over those. Derek, you're saying Ugarte starting over Casemiro. I mean, it's possible. Really is possible. It still horrifies me. These bunch of players, average players, will react next season when we have midweek games. The squad's going to be bigger next season. I'd still play Mount up top, says DJ Ultra. Well, look, I'll tell you what. Thank you all for that chat. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to get cracking on the Starting 11 video so I can get that out for 12 p.m. because today's a double drop day. We've got the preview for the Spurs game going out at 12 and the video version of the podcast going to be released at 7 p.m. tonight. So we need to get both of those done. So I need a little bit more time to get lunchtime done. Thank you all for tuning in. If you can, and you're new in town, please do subscribe. Unfiltered Sam on the beers. What was it? I remember I got called a raging alcoholic once. I think that was because to be fair, I was necking a bottle of Prosecco. Actually, no, I think it was when everyone just randomly had a can on the show. And people were like, I think you've got a drinking problem, mate. Anyway, see you at lunchtime. And I'll be here tomorrow morning, Friday show, get a map out. Have a cracking day. And make sure you check out the podcast, the video version, 7 p.m. tonight. Bye-bye.